This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We infuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond. A very good afternoon. Dumelang kako Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe here, your host of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. What a privilege and an honor that you take the time out of your busy schedule to check us out, to see what we have for you. And we do indeed have a wonderful entrepreneur. We have a gentleman who's going to talk about his business, which is Dumba Car Rentals. He'll introduce himself momentarily and go into deeper detail. And I'm so excited, guys. But before I go deeper, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Strike that notification bell. Strike that subscribe button. Strike that like button, please. This is the only way we can stay relevant with these algorithms, guys. 2/3 of you don't subscribe, and it's costing us a lot. You may not know this, but it makes a huge difference. Although it costs you nothing. So please do hit that subscribe button. And I have a book, Nuggets of Grit. The book is now rapidly becoming a bestseller with your help. We've brought down the cost from $3.99 to $3.60. If you purchase it now, and if you mention that you saw it here, you'll certainly deserve that discount. Thank you so much for visiting our studio, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I want to say this name correctly. Soli Maduo Nthomang. Okay. Welcome so much to
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
What a privilege to have people like you visit us.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I greet you and I greet your viewers at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Would you care to share your background? People are normally interested in knowing.
I was born in Kanye. I'm 43 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My father is Professor Maduo Nthomang. My mother is Maduo Nthomang. I've got 2 siblings. Both my parents are still alive and very active. Well, my father is active work-wise. My mother has retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I grew up in Gaborone. I grew up
at university.
Right? UB. He's at UB. Yes, he's a lecturer at UB.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, we grew up. I grew up in Gaborone.
I'm also a Kanye boy.
Oh, all right.
Kohoromo is where I come from.
All right.
That's cool.
But basically, I grew up around Botswana. I did my primary at Moshopa, and then I went to continue Gobuikuzo still primary, and then I went to Lehututu primary school, and then I came back. I did Ramohotzin Mora, and then I did Bora CJSS. I did Mulifi Senior / I finished Kona Lady. This is when you have a parent who's a teacher, they're all over the place and you're always following them behind. Yes, so basically that's me traveling all over the country. And then I went to Port Elizabeth. It was then called Port Elizabeth Technikon. I think right now it's Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, where I first year studied photography, and then I was supposed to proceed to second year, and then I changed. I did journalism, and I did 2 years. First year journalism, second year I was still in journalism, but I started working in South Africa, and then for some reason I got FD and came home.
You got what?
Fail and discontinue.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the reason? You were too busy with your photography?
No, I was busy. I was doing work for Johnny Communications. There was a company called Johnny Communications. I was the editor-in-chief for Campus Madness. and there was the body spray, the deodorants. I was also the student brand manager. Also, I think my biggest challenge is that there's a newspaper here I wanted to work for, and I went to them after my first year with my grades. I was like, hey, look, I need a job. They were like, no, we can only start you at junior report. I was like, no, but where I don't even have a diploma yet, and I'm already an editor. So I mean, tell me, how does this work? At least just make me arts editor or something. I just want to be an editor. I'm not gonna be running the streets looking for news and stuff
so
like that.
You dropped out at what year?
Third year. Thought that it was in third year. I came home. I think I had lost interest after the newspaper turned me down. I had lost
interest in employment, or in what?
In employment. I had lost interest in employment. I had lost the money I was making in South Africa was more than what the junior reporter was getting this side. In all projects combined.
Yes.
So it became a journey ever since I came back. I was involved in a lot of business projects, a lot. Some taking off a bit and coming down. One at the top of my head, I used to have a restaurant publication called Paperboy, which one time it was making money. I was fine, and then everything.
Selling to restaurants?
No, I did the market research where I found out that if it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for your meal to arrive at the table in a restaurant. So the idea was that while you are still waiting for your meal, you have this ready. It was a 2-page publication with adverts running on the sides. So instead of, before this smartphones got popular, it was the best thing, to sit there, because I was writing it, I was editing it, I was shooting it, I was just doing the whole 9 years with it. Yeah, and I remember even before Facebook got famous, we had Maduo Web Talent where we were placing. I was working with modeling agencies. We were putting these people, the clients' portfolios, the models' portfolios online. Basically, some of the things we were doing back then. I been all over. Yeah, and at one point, I think I gave up. The environment was not as welcoming as when I was in South Africa, so I went to church.
What do you mean you went to church?
I quit everything and I went to church.
What does that mean?
There was a church I was attending called Celebration. I got born again there, and me getting born again there, I got employed there. Initially I was employed as a assistant administrator, and then I started doing sound and photography, and then it moved to youth pastor for youth pastoring. And basically I left in...
This was what years are this?
It was 2008, 2009, 2010. I left in 2010, and because I felt that you have so many ideas, and you feel the environment that you are in has you closed in. So I kind of left, and I went back on the streets. Going back on the streets,
So you worked in the church for how long?
For about 3 years. 3 years, yeah. I used to travel all over the country. Would do cross countries, going to Zimbabwe and stuff like that. So I quit. I started out as a graphic designer, and I realized, no, it's not my calling. So I then started doing photography on full time. At the peak of my photography career, I did Rick Ross when he was here for Business Weekly.
Yeah, you mentioned on the phone. How did you manage to pull that off?
I was sleeping at home. Actually, I was on a serious note. Gumamoyo had a publication called In Business. So I was a photographer for Gumamoyo. So that's when I started interacting with a whole lot of people that were in the corporate environment. And one day the then editor-in-chief, I think, was it Tshireletso? The one who went to Australia.
I'm not sure.
He called me out of the blues. He was like, "Hey, I need you to cover me, to go and do the Rick Ross show, and as our front man." So I went there. I literally spent the whole it was actually a day. Yeah, the whole event, and then the following day, my fees were very high then, so I could even do more than 2 days. Fast forward, I went to Australia, still doing photography.
You did?
Yeah, Brisbane. I went to Brisbane.
From when to when?
It was for a month. We're covering multicultural. We're invited by Multicultural Australia with some traditional dance group. Again, I was sleeping. Somebody called me and said, "Hey, bring your passport. Let's put a visa in your passport, and all expenses paid." So when I came back from Australia, things really got extremely hard for me in terms of
income generation.
Income generation, because now I think I've also learned something in Australia in terms of how do you structure your pricing as a photographer and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a mind-blowing experience for me, and I came back, and this is me trying to apply the same principles on the ground, and you can't come with first world principles to Africa, stuff like that. So it was a struggle. COVID happened, obviously, and then COVID. I was doing a bit of animation with a friend for corporates. We were doing animation. I was doing the sales and marketing. COVID ended, and I was left with over $500,000.
In what?
Money that I made during COVID.
So COVID was a blessing.
It was a blessing for me. Then I didn't know what to do with the money. I was like, COVID is not gonna be here. Whatever I made during COVID is not gonna expand or go beyond. COVID basically is not gonna always be around. So what I decided, I put together a team of about 15 people. I started a newspaper called Independent Journal. I wish I would have brought you a copy. I still have the copies. Advertising was bad. In terms of now,
people have gone digital.
Yes, people had gone digital. I was still left pre-COVID. I was still thinking things will go back to print media, and I saw that money go down very, 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 very fast. To a point where when I was left with I think 30,000.
It looked like a lot, but when you started using it,
it looked like it was a lot of money, because printing costs, traveling, journalists going to do interviews, equipment and stuff like that. And I just said, no, I can't do this anymore. The one part that I left behind was that in between me leaving church and part of the stories there, I ended up back home. And when I was home, my dad was like, you know what, just go out and do anything. I don't care what you do, just go out and do anything. So I
left. As opposed to sitting,
because I'd sit from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. and then I'll cook them breakfast. And then I go
9 a.m. you mean?
No, from 9 p.m. From 9 p.m. After they watch the news, I sit in the sitting room, I watch the TV up until 5 a.m. And then I cook them breakfast, and then I go to bed, and then I'll be sleeping the whole day. And I think my dad was like, no, we're not gonna do this anymore. So he's like, no, just go find anything. So I went into the bus rank. I got a job there as a security guard. And then my job was simply to open and close the hotel door for guests. Open, close, pick their bags upstairs, bring them down, check, security work.
Yeah.
And I think I was doing that job.
Call you a potter.
Yes, more or less like a potter. Yes, I was a potter. So I think I did it very, very, very good, to a point where my then manager, his name was Robert, he said, you know what, I'm gonna move you into the casino. So I moved into the casino. First
do
time,
what? Blackjack?
No, security, obviously.
Yeah, security.
Yeah, I'm continuing my work now as security, but in the casino. And in the casino now, I started getting tips. I'm surprised. Oh, so people actually tip in this part of the country. So and then some people, after they win, they were like, no, find me a cab. Find me a driver you trust. Yeah. So they can take me home.
Yes.
So
they may have had too much to drink.
Yeah, so I'll go find the cab. When the cab will take the person wherever they were taking them. When they come back, they tip me 10 bullets. So I was like, wow. So the cab guys also tip. So it became a norm for me to find the cab guys clients in the casino. And unfortunately, I also quit.
Well, you're not happy with the...
No, I used to go to work with my laptop. And me going to work with my laptop, sometimes I felt out of space.
Out of place.
Out of place. Sometimes I felt out of place. So one day, we're not supposed to, because I was working in the casino also, I was not supposed to come to the casino after, if I'm off duty.
Yes.
So I came the day I got paid, I came back, and the management was not happy. And I don't know whether they were threatening me, saying I was fired, but I was excited that I got fired. So I moved out
Did you have a plan?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a plan, but as I was like, you know what, let me go into the bus rank and see what is happening. So I ended up in the bus rank. I was assisting
This is 2021.
No, it was that was around 2020. That was before my photography days. I think it was around 2012, 2013.
No, 2013.
Yeah. So I went into the bus rank. I started assisting the cab guys to find clients. And there I also got promoted to take a rabuka. And they ended up organizing me a car to also run around.
I don't know what is rabuka.
Rabuka is that guy who tells which car is supposed to pick up clients next. So basically that was my work. I was getting paid from that. Yeah, so then I didn't have a driver's license. And I was doing a pirated taxi, back to back. I can't say how many police officers have greased their hands along the way. But my plan then was in 3 years I should exit. And because my plan was...
You're still staying with your parents?
I was still staying with my parents, but my plan was that in 3 years I'm going to exit and then go into full-time photography. I'm not looking back. I'm not even when I go to the bus rank, I don't know anybody. I am going to be a professional photographer. That was my goal. So photography happened, got equipment, and then obviously fast forward to the COVID story where I left it. So after I ran out of money now, coming back to after the newspaper, I had sold everything that I had bought then, and then right there, I owed rent for 3 months. I had actually then, during my photography days and all that, I moved out of my parents' house.
Yes.
So I was now on my own. So I was 3 months rent in arrears. So my landlord was like, man, you need to get out of my house. And I was like, no, I've got a plan. Wait. So right then, for the past, I think 5 years, I've been researching about car rental industry. I've been researching about it. I've been reading about it. I've been downloading.
The main players are what? Avis and Tempest.
Yeah, Avis, Europe car. Right now, there's Union car. They just started at the airport. They have a slot there at the airport. So usually what I do is when I have an idea, I create a Facebook page for it. And then with my little knowledge of graphics, I design the logos and I leave that information there. And then one day when I'm bored, I go through what I've created, and it was one of those ideas that came about like that. So when I go through the car rental always stood out. It always stood out, and I started researching about it. I think the turning point for me was reading the Cresta annual report. I discovered gold in that report.
Wow.
I discovered gold and I was like, no, this gold, I'm riding with it.
What was the gold?
Cresta is just a brand. It doesn't, I think most of the properties, they don't own them. They lease them. And that gold also, it's in the bus rank. Most of these guys in the bus rank, they don't own those cars. They lease them. So as much as the car rental was still sticking out now and there, I didn't have the confidence to do it. I was 3 months in rent in arrears, and a friend of mine came to get me at my house. Then he came to get me. We went to Tlokweni. It was a Sunday. We were going to Simon? We went there by Tlokweni. My phone was ringing off the hook. People looking for cars. And because I had listed my number as a contact, then I didn't even have a single car. So my phone kept ringing and I kept saying, we are fully booked. We are fully booked. We are fully booked. And this guy was like, man, this is a very lucrative business. I was like, yeah, it is. And then he said, so what do you need? I was like, I need a car. It's like, how many do you need? I was like, no, just bring one. And we partied on that Sunday. He took me back home. The following morning at around 8, he calls me. He was like, I'm at Mogoditana right now. I'm about to buy you a car. Which car do you want? And I said,
you see this guy, a random guy?
No, he's a friend of mine. We met. His name is.
No, I don't need to know.
Yeah. He's a friend. He's in the financial sector. Well, I think he resigned. He's still trying to do his own thing right now. But he's one of those. We call him Captain. Captain.
He said, I'm buying you a cab now.
He said, I'm buying you a car. Which car do you want? And my confidence went out of the window. I said, get me a Honda Fit. It's like new shape or old shape. I said, get me old shape. With the thought that if I cannot make this guy the type of money I've promised him, I would know it will not hurt me much knowing that he bought me a small car. Yeah, so around 5 p.m. that very same day, the car was delivered to my house. And I looked at that car, the plan. Now I'm deciding, should I go back to the bus rank and do the whole night pirate taxis? Now I have a driver's license. Should I go back and do the pirated taxi because now I have a license, or should I continue and maybe do a car rental? Lazy as I am, I decided no, car rental was the way out. And the first customer called, that car was always out. The first month it made 12 grand. The first month.
This is net or gross?
all in total.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's gross. Excluding, so I was able to cover even some of my bills that were behind. I was able to pay this guy something. We went into the second month, the third month. He was like, "No, I'm gonna bring you 2 more cars because this thing is working for me." So he brought me 2 more cars, and then
that means you have to train people.
No, I was still doing everything myself.
What do you do with 3 cars?
No, I was renting them out. This was the foundation of really Dumba. And with 3 cars now, he talked to his other friend, and his other friend brought in 2 more cars. Now I had 5 cars. And this is
what year is this?
It was in 2021, 2022, 2021. I think it was late 2021. Yeah, and then by 2022, I think around March, I had about 15 cars that I was renting out. But the problem then we had was that, when
different people,
same. Basically, we had just cut out a contract for them, where the contract basically saying, look, you are bringing your car on revenue share. The company gets this, you get this gross. So
does one have to get a license for something like this? Is it regular?
I tried. I went to BTO. I was told they don't do licenses specifically for car rentals. I have to, but they can organize me a travel and tours license. So I was like, no, I'm not into travel and tours. I'm not interested in going to travel and tours. So I'm just gonna.
So you work on the basis that if something is not prohibited by law, then it means it's legal. Because there was nothing to stop it. It's just that they didn't offer a license.
Yeah. Basically, that's what I ganged on. I rode on that element. So fast forward, my captain ended up. He became my partner. By the way, I sold him the shares in the business. He ended up selling them to another friend of ours. Because the work that captain was doing, then it was in the early days, so we were spending a lot of time at the police station because somebody will come rent the car and then they go maybe commit a crime with it, and I'm called. I need to bring evidence that this guy has rented this car. These are his driver's licenses.
It happened frequently.
It was so frequent.
Were you not vetting the drivers?
We were actually, even from the last time when I was in Urban Police Station, one of the CID ladies came to me. It's like, you know what, you guys, you are always here. Put together a rental society WhatsApp group where you can vet people there. You know who's where.
You ask questions.
Put before.
A picture and say, what about
yes,
this guy?
and I went out and I looked for other car rentals that were already in place. So I put together a WhatsApp group, and then we started vetting drivers there. We started passing customers there. It became a very exciting experience, and the crime kind of
went down.
It went down.
You no longer had to keep going to the police.
We no longer had to keep on going back and forth to the police. But he left, and another friend came on board.
Who left?
Captain. Yeah. Captain left. Another friend came on board, and the friend who came on board. The funny thing is that I think we were hanging out about a month back. He went on and started his own car rental. We were hanging out, and he said, you know what, I became a shareholder because I was paying for education when I bought shares in your company. I was getting educated.
To young entrepreneurs, sometimes it's better to work and earn little
Yeah.
so that you can learn.
Yes.
You earn to learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what the guy did.
That's what the guy did, basically. That's what the guy did.
Just that he never told you at the
He
beginning.
never told me from the onset that
Yeah.
I'm attending college.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never did. Fast forward, he moving kind of nearly made everything fall apart.
Because you had to pay him off.
Obviously I had to pay him also because I ended up buying his shares. I had to buy him out so that I retain the 100%. So me buying him out, he was then the CEO. So him being the CEO also, he kind of terminated all those contracts with the cars that we already had. So when I came to learn that, I realized that I was only left with 2 cars. From 15 to 2.
It's called sabotage.
Yeah, it was. So, but I'm not complaining because I think it was for good, because it made me go back to the dream board. It made me go back to the dream board, and I continued advertising. I never stopped advertising. I just continued. I was all over the media doing everything. And then one time another friend called me. Was like, "Hey, I've got SUVs and what yada yada yada. Are you not interested to rent them out?" I was like, "Really?" And then started teaching me how everything was going, and basically that's when everything started growing beyond. I think when that guy left, we were stagnant. We were stagnant. We already knew that this month we have this much in the account. So much is going to him, to this one, because we even had brought in a receptionist, secretary. So things moved in a different direction after this guy introduced me to the whole SUV market, SUV, the 4x4s. And then over time, I've been having quite amazing clientele, mostly from the US.
They pay US dollars.
Yes, I was forced to open a USD account as Stambik because you give them a BWP account. I don't know. They prefer doing dollar to dollar.
Yes.
So basically.
And when you convert to their own money, to them it's very cheap.
Yeah, it's very cheap.
But you still have to raise it a bit.
To accommodate the.
When they take these 4x4s, they go into the bush with them.
I've actually stopped doing renting out to people who go to the bush, because the car comes back, it needs a lot of work. The scratches, the tires.
So what are your conditions? They move around town?
I'm slowly moving back to doing rentals around town. I'm more bending over corporate rentals than individual rentals, and we've been.
They still need 4x4s.
I've been getting a lot of corporate rentals for the 4x4s. The business is amazing.
How many cars at the moment?
I'm working with a fleet. I'm working with a fleet of 200.
That's substantial.
I was given about 10 buses to add to the fleet during the fobs 30.
Which is about a month ago.
Certain gentleman who also has transport business approached me and said, "Hey, I've got buses. Find me business." And I started.
You struck a deal.
Yeah, and then I struck a deal with Fobs, and then I was moving the delegates all over the place. Yeah.
Let's talk about, you've covered so many of the things I wanted to ask you about parental influence. To what extent did the parents influence you and contribute to your current success?
Yeah. I'll start with my mother. My mother was an English teacher, so she being an English teacher, I remember a very interesting story. Sometimes we'll have a misunderstanding, and then she will be like, "No, go write it down, go put it in English on paper, and bring it to me so I can read it." So
what the problem is?
So that communicate to me in paper. Let me see what you are saying on paper, English.
Yeah.
So instead of addressing the actual problem, which was my disgruntlement, now we are doing English composition and we are busy correcting and everything. So it made me become very fluent with the Queen's language. It made me become a good writer also. My father is an avid reader. Every Sunday, well, when I was still staying at home, every Sunday he would take a pile of, he'll buy all the newspapers from Monday to Friday, and then Saturday we are doing house chores, and then on Sunday he sits by the veranda with a stack of newspapers, and then he's reading them all one by one. So because we're not we couldn't talk much, I'll come sit next to him and grab a copy also, because he had this tendency of, you'll be zoned out watching TV, and then he'll ask you something regarding current affairs. Yeah, he'll ask you, it's like, "Hey, did you see yada 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 happening?" So it forced me to always be up to date. But on top of that, it also taught me that with the work that he was doing also, he did a lot of research, which at Dumba, at 25% of my revenue I put into research and development.
In what sense?
I'm always finding information. If it means me going to rent from another car rental company to find the information I'm looking for, I'm going to do that. If it means me traveling outside the country to find the information, I'm going to do that. So
does it also include attending entrepreneurial
courses? It does. Last year I was nominated for Founder of the Year in South Africa. The Founder of the Year in South Africa.
Based on your rental business.
Based on the rental business, and again, there's
someone nominated you.
Somebody nominated me, and I don't know. I found myself on Facebook. I think somebody was had put all that information out there, and I was like, oh, so I got nominated. So I started running with the information, and they had the voting. Obviously, the voting procedure, how many people should vote and stuff like that. And I had not really put much emphasis and energy on it. Because a lot of times I had always preferred to stay in the background. That's why I think you are seeing me for the first time.
You're now in the forefront.
I decided to grab the bull by the horns.
Yeah. Okay, so they've had a very positive influence in your life. Let's talk about your triumphs and successes. How did you go from 2 when your partner left to 200 vehicles? What was the trick?
The trick is I learned that Botswana Hela generally okay, let me paraphrase that. I was when I was reading all these corporate documentations that I've been collecting all over the place, I learned the structures that they were using to acquire the cars. So I moved from a revenue share to partnerships with individuals, with dealerships. I went into a lot of partnerships, and it kind of availed me to have the type of traction the number of cars that I have right now. And what's interesting is that I've been reluctant to put together a proper office just like this one. I prefer my office. I call it the Sky Office.
Why you call it the Sky Office?
We do everything online, and then from there we deliver the cars to the clients. I've always preferred the deliver the car model. Other rental companies will charge you to bring you the car. I do it for free because I want to see if my car is going to be safe. I want to see.
And you want to see the true location.
Yeah,
you
the
normally
actual
deliver at the person's office or at the home.
At their home. I love delivering personally, so that I go to sleep peacefully. I don't want somebody coming to my office, get in the car, and all of a sudden the tracking is just all over the place.
Speaking of tracking, what methodology you use to track and make sure that they don't cross the border, for instance?
Initially, I was doing self-tracking. I had a friend who had started his own tracking company, so I wanted to give him support. So what he used to do is he'll do the installations, and then I'll just manage the month, because a tracker is actually, they put the SIM card in there, so you have to keep putting airtime so that it gets active. So basically that's what I used to do, that back to back by myself. But when the business grows, obviously you realize that this is very cumbersome. You can't
it's
be
not cost effective.
Yeah, you are going through plate number, cell number, airtime, plate number, like that, So I moved to Netstar. Actually, the interesting part about Netstar is that I had 2 cars that were stolen by 2 whites. They were Netstar recovered them in Zimbabwe.
From where? From
here. Yeah, the 2 white gentlemen came to rent them from me. They were at the guest house. I delivered the cars at the guest house. I was happy. They left with the cars. It was a 5-day rental.
Where did they go?
The last time the trackers were active were in Francistown. But this guy said they were going to Kasane. The cars were recovered in Zimbabwe, in Mzilikazi. Apparently Mzilikazi is it's a very dangerous street.
So did they just abandon them?
No, the tracking company liaised with the Zimbabwe police, and the Zimbabwe police went and collected them. I had to travel to Zimbabwe to go identify the cars.
They arrested?
No, they were never arrested.
They managed to run away.
They had changed everything: the plate numbers, the license disc, everything basically. You could even recognize the cars. So even when you elevate in business, you get that. We're used to the ones in Gaborone who do door to door. Now we are now crossing borders. So I moved to. That was one of the things that really got me. There's a gentleman there called Moses.
Moses who?
His name.
No, let's leave names.
He was very instrumental in putting together the whole thing. Even the CID were very helpful. It was a successful recovery. Yeah, so those were some of the challenges that they made me say, hey, look, I need to stick to this company.
Yeah,
they deliver, and we make sure that all our cars are now tracked. Yeah.
And at any given time you can see on your mobile where the car is.
Yeah. So it's also on my phone. I can see where the car is. Okay. So I do not necessarily. The only challenge is that every time when a certain car crosses the border, sometimes I need to inform them, because they also have a branch in South Africa. So they cover, so that the branches now covers the car in South Africa. Yeah.
Is there any special meaning to the name Dumba?
Yes, sir. It's Dumba is Kalanga. It means an African drum that is played to make it rain. So I had a friend, a Kalanga friend, the one who came up with the name. when we were brainstorming for names,
Mm.
because initially I wanted to call it Africa,
Mm.
and then I discovered that there was Africa in Namibia.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I need a name that is going to stand out,
Mm.
that has colors that are going to stand out.
Mhm.
I think I had applied. I usually say everything I learned in photography and in journalism, I'm basically putting it to play in
entrepreneurship, in business.
Yeah, in business,
Mhm.
in especially in Dumba as a whole.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your digital marketing strategy?
We have a website,
Mm-hmm.
but the website, I'm currently migrating it to a .com. Initially it was dumba.co.bw, and now we are migrating it to drivedumba.com.
How does the website help?
It makes the booking very easy. People, you can pick the car from the website, do your add-ons, your insurances and everything, and then you make the payment online, and then the money just goes straight to the account. When you land at the airport, we just drive the car, and then we give it to you at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So the website, the previous website was very instrumental in that department.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt as a .co.bw it was limited.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to grow beyond Botswana.
Mm-hmm.
I want this thing to go beyond, and the focus was that if I'm going to go international, I should stop thinking local.
Okay, how are you coping with competition from the established giants, car rental companies?
It's a very competitive market, I must say. I think my biggest advantage is that they did not necessarily recognize Botswana as a market per se because of our numbers. So sometimes I don't think they brought in a lot of fleet from other countries. So sometimes I get spillovers.
Mm-hmm.
I get spillovers.
They know about you.
They do. Sometimes a customer will tell me, I was calling this other company, and they said, you are the guy with the red cars.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a customer will call, and then they don't agree with my pricing, and then I'll tell them, no, go to the international brands, and then they go there, and then they tell them, no, but that's the guy you should go back to.
Yeah, because your pricing is better.
I love competition. If you don't have competition, you are not. There's something wrong you are doing. I love competition. I love to see other brands come up and try to do what we are trying to do. Competition is amazing. You need to be competitive always. Yeah, which also boils down to also the time that I spend on the business on a daily basis. Yeah.
Is insurance a challenge in this line of business?
It is.
How so?
Insurance initially did not do the Mogoditsane cars for under Parental. They just started opening up doors recently. The interesting part about international car rentals is that they
Mogoditsane, you mean
second-hand cars.
Oh, the ones that are brought from Singapore.
Yes. I learned that these other international companies actually had their own insurance companies. So, God willing, that's my next move. Yeah.
Okay. Because the rates are high.
The rates are high. Sometimes even when you issue out the car, sometimes I'm embarrassed to even talk about insurance.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it. Sometimes I swallow the bullet myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This policy of telling the customer that bring the car with the petrol full, does it still apply?
Yes, it does.
What's the reason for it?
The idea is that we give you a car with a full tank.
Mm-hmm.
You should come back with a full tank. We take your security deposit based on the tank issue, tank to tank. We call it tank to tank. We take your security deposit based on case you have a tire bust, you scratch the car, you might need to go do glazing, you might lose the keys, we might need to travel and give you the keys or courier you the keys, whatever but at Dumba I think one of the biggest principles that I've put in place is that I always tell people that I'm available 24/7.
You and your staff.
My staff can go home. I'm available 24/7
because you're completely dedicated to the business. I'm
completely dedicated to this thing, and even if you call me at midnight and say you are stuck in the middle of nowhere, I'll switch on the track and I'll go and I'll find you there. I like one time I had a client who had a tire bust. All his tires were hit the pothole between Molepole and Letlhakeng. It was around 11 p.m. I grabbed 4 new tires and I went there, and then I was changing tires by the side of the road.
With him?
Yes.
But with 200 vehicles, there must be a limit to that.
Limit in terms of that,
in terms
that
of
they
your
do
availability.
not go out
all at once.
All at once. Sometimes the highest that has ever gone out at the same time was when the U.S. Army was here. I think it was 2022. They took 67 cars at once. They were gone for 12 days. Where
did they go?
Half of the cars were in Gaborone, half of the cars were in Francistown. So I had to deliver. I was there the whole time personally.
That's when you still allow them to leave, to go out
yes,
of town.
Yes.
Before you stop that policy.
It's not like I have stopped it 100%. I'm very specific with who I give the car to go to the bush with. If I give you the car as an individual and you go to the bush with it, you find people, because Baragidikolo is a rental. You find Koloi Lema or carrying cements or
Lema.
We've had those experiences where you see on the tracker the car is just going around in circles in one place, and then you open up the you do satellite now, because you get the tracker gives you satellite and maps. What is it called? Yeah, and maps. Like it will
GPS, global positioning.
Yes. So once it does that, once you screen in to see, you see that it's an open field. Yeah, so your car is just going around.
You actually see it on the Google. Is it Google Maps or what? It's a satellite something.
It's an app we got from the from.
So you have to run there.
Yeah, so you have to run there, and so we are like.
What do you do when a person does this?
You terminate. You terminate the agreement. You take the car. You go. Even if I give you a car now,
and they forfeit their deposit.
Yeah, it's part of the rental agreement that we shouldn't see any activities that are out of this world. Yeah.
But this is not the only business you have, so tell us about the other one. Paper room or papermates?
Storeroom papermates.
Storeroom papermates.
Storeroom papermates. It's a digital company that I bought in the US. I just brought in quite good programmers. The main job is digital marketing. They do everything digital marketing. The other one is based in the Philippines. The other one is here. I'm also here. Basically what they do everything digital marketing, internet security, cyber security and stuff like that. So we've set up a couple of websites that we do these projects with, and I wish they were here so they could explain in detail what they do.
Yeah.
I just pay rent in Philippines, in Gaborone, and that's as far as it goes.
But what's the outcome? What are the results?
It's a very successful enterprise. The only challenge we had with it in the couple of months before, was that we were moving banks. And then we encountered the 3D authentication, and a lot of our projects were not really making that type of money we're initially making from the onset. It has also allowed me to buy a car or two at the same time and add it into the fleet. So that's another.
That's
also
how well it is done.
It's also giving me the window to research on the international market as I'm traveling, going to these countries, see if there's a window for Dumba. Yeah.
And of course, you say that it's based in Delaware.
It's based in Delaware.
Yeah. How does that work? Is it out of the reach of the Botswana courts and the jurisdiction is?
It's for me. It was when I was doing my research, really looking out where to go into the US. I felt like Delaware is the best place to go. Looking at the legislatures, the laws and everything, when you're a businessman, that the nitty-gritties that you look into. And at the end of the day, when I looked at with my partner,
Biden is from there, the president.
Yes, I understand.
He was for the longest time. He was a senator for Delaware before he became vice president.
All right.
So he's a Delaware man.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one of the projects that we are in, and we are also investing in an energy drink called Petrol. Which is sponsored by both the companies.
Okay.
So
it's still at its infancy.
The graphics are done. I was actually supposed to receive the syrup formula today. That's why maybe I didn't mention it to you earlier, because I'm still wondering what are we going to drink. Yeah, but it's a very interesting project. We trying to expand, to go beyond Botswana, because one of the things I actually learned from when Fobs was here, everybody kept on saying go big or go home. Yeah,
go big or go home.
Go big or go home.
And then so in other words, expand your horizon, your thinking.
Yes, look beyond the borders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you participate in Fobs?
I'm over age, but because I was a vendor transporter, I had access to a lot of the workshops that were there, because we were given the gate passes and everything. So I just went through as a 43-year-old, just watching what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
The issue
that is commonly mentioned everywhere is the mindset change thing, and there's always talk of mindset this, mindset that.
Yeah.
What is your take on it, and to what extent?
On Forbes 30?
No, I'm talking about mindset, the president's mindset change agenda. Yeah.
I think it needs a different approach. It needs a different approach. It was exciting in the first 2 years or so. It was exciting. The excitement is dying down because it's monotonous, and it's the same thing. But one thing I've learned is that people actually leave their businesses to go to attend with the hope that an investor will come on board. My biggest principle is start first. Go through the trenches. Feel the pain. You'll never know. Maybe you might be blessed enough to. I believe taking an investor on board is taking a shortcut. Rather, I believe in the franchise model.
What is that model?
The franchise model where I build something, and then I come to you and I say, hey, look, this is working for me. I think it will work for you too. Hey, let's grow from here.
So time tested and
proven. Yes. I think the investor.
When you say it needs a different approach, is that what they are doing? They're currently just focused on calling investors and say mindset change, invest with this person.
I
don't understand.
my idea of it is that the people that apply to be part of the event should also bring their business to the event.
That's what I expect, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are just working all over, meeting that one. No, I do ABCD, I do ABCD. But let's have people, this 30-year-olds, under 30-year-olds, bring their business. Let me come to the event and put a tent here and put 5 of my cars here. Let these people at the event rent my car. Let the investors see me in action and get interested to see what I'm about when I say I do this. Yeah.
Oh, you are talking about it in the context of fobs, for instance.
Yes, in the context of fobs. Yeah. Let people see what I'm about instead of you always being all over the place looking for funding. I believe in...
Yeah, a lot of people didn't understand because on social media people are complaining that it's a waste of government funds. I even remember one of the senior officials saying they had a 5-year contract with Forbes. Now they've cut it down to 3. This will be the last one because Botswana are grumbling and complaining too much.
Yes, it is. But for me it was good because I got to be a vendor, a service provider there. But I felt the pain for the rest who were there, just walking all over, attending seminars and stuff like that.
If you are talking to a young entrepreneur who hasn't had the experience that you've had, what are the 1 or 2 things that you say they must guard against? In other words, what is the downside of entrepreneurship that they must guard against?
They must guard against excessive spending. I've found myself in that area before, where I was spending 10,000 a day on myself, and I didn't even care. I didn't even care which direction the business was taking. You spend
doing what? Going to
entertainment, mostly entertainment. I think I had done so much. I had been through so much that I felt that I needed to reward myself. I felt I needed to reward myself, but it always takes me back. It always took me back to one where I find myself now putting together the last crumbs to try to make things work out and move forward. Because the car rental, it's a very lucrative market, extremely lucrative, and the car rentals that I know that I have come, they have left, and I think my approach initially,
because you manage it well.
Yeah, my approach initially was like, I don't care. But after tasting the money, I was like, no, I'm staying here. I'm staying here. It will change your life drastically. But financial management is key. Yeah.
Where does one get that knowledge, though? Where do people get the education from?
Reading, research. Read, research.
What about mentorship and courses and training?
I've been invited for mentorship programs, and I always tell people I'm the worst when it comes to mentorship. How do you motivate a student to be at my level when I'm a varsity dropout and I'm making the type of money that I'm making? So it doesn't add up for me.
But we can be making 10 times, 20 times, 100 times.
Yes.
With a little bit of input from a mentor.
Yeah. No, I have a mentor actually.
Yeah.
I do have a mentor.
Oh, I see.
We talk on a regular when some things are not adding up.
Oh, I thought you were against mentorship.
No, I'm not against I cannot be a mentor personally.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I was talking about being mentored.
Being mentored, I do have a mentor.
Okay.
We talk on a regular. He's been very instrumental in the ups and downs of my life as far back as 2005.
Okay.
He's very instrumental in my life. His name is Hamanel Maulana.
Okay. Now, we want to conclude with you telling us what the future holds now.
Yeah.
If we're looking a couple of decades,
Yeah.
10, 20 years, what have you got lined up?
I'm looking into finally securing space and moving into removing the sky office and going down to where the people are, because I'm interested in growing the company beyond Gaborone.
But aren't you keeping the cars in some place?
No, yeah, there is some place.
So
Yeah,
why don't
no,
you
what
have
I
an
mean
office
is
there?
a front office.
Oh yeah.
A front office. I'm looking now to go in and get a front office, and then have people who can go in there, work there back to back, because all my employees work comfortably. Yeah, so because the plan is to now expand outside Gaborone. I had done a short stint in Maung. It didn't really work because
You opened an office there.
yeah, I had opened an office in Maung, but I was using the small cars, and then I realized that no, it's
Not for this terrain.
yeah, not for this terrain. It's not gonna work. So I left Maung. I'm planning to go back there.
Yeah.
Now with the 4x4s and expand, and I'm basically looking to I believe that for me to win outside, first I have to win here.
Yeah. Are you having partnerships with travel agencies
We
or collaborations?
We've been working on them. There's a few travel agencies that we've been working with. I'm still on the lookout for more travel agencies to work with, so that we can drop rental packages for their clients and stuff like that. So it's something that we are still it's primary stages. So I'm a bit reluctant to expand it to the rest of the other travel agencies.
What about the fleet? Are you looking at maybe 1,000 vehicles, 2,000?
If there's a partnership that I'm hoping to secure in the next 3-4 years. If it goes down the way I see it, that I hope it will go. I'm looking at going 1,000 and going outside the country now.
Yeah.
There's a plant, there's a car manufacturing that we're in talks with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
You'll come tell us about it.
I'll
when
come
you're ready.
back.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
All right.
Yeah.
So are you done with the future outlook? Oh, you're
Yes.
still.
No, I'm done.
Oh, you're covered. All right. Time for you to ask me a question.
Time to. How did you get this place?
This one.
Yes.
If I tell you, you won't buy my book because I have a whole
It's
chapter
covered
on
in
it.
the book.
Yeah.
All right.
We built it. It was a piece
No,
of ground.
I grew up just across the road here.
Yeah.
In phase 2. So
We built it.
this thing was an empty space,
Yeah.
and
Then
there was a
20
football field somewhere there.
Yeah, it was blank.
Yeah.
I think 2017 is when we opened,
Okay.
but we moved here 2014, I think. 2013. Started building. We took our time, but
Okay.
we managed.
Okay.
So
It's
all I can summarize it is blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes.
But I talk about it in the book. If I tell you, then
Yeah. No, I'm still gonna buy the book because I've been fighting to find to know how I can get to get. You have a digital copy also.
No, I'm not yet.
Oh,
When
okay.
you
No, let
put
me-
it digital, they then they just copy it all over the place.
Oh, okay.
So
No,
I'm trying to avoid that. Yeah.
let me come back and get a copy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me
All
get-
right. As we conclude, sir, look into that camera
Okay.
and talk to that viewer that has been watching you. Leave them with words of inspiration.
My words of inspiration is believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, more than anything study, listen to people that advise you, that are around you. Take advice, take wisdom. It will take you a long way.
All right. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Can
sir.
you tell them all your contacts, including
Uh,
WhatsApp numbers, how they access
Yes.
you and the vehicles?
You can our Sky office or central reservations on WhatsApp on direct calls is 73-677-993. My personal WhatsApp is 72336052.
72.
336 052. My email is support@drivedumba.com, or you can contact me personally at solicanon@gmail.com.
Okay. All right. I think you've covered everything.
We covered everything.
Thank you so much.